Hey everybody, hello. Happy Wednesday, happy inauguration day, happy, I don't know what the weather is like where you are, but it's super gray and dreary here, but I've surrounded myself in my office with really bright colors so I can have a bright day. So happy Wednesday. It is a good day today, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, it's a good day. Um, I'm so excited to be here. First, thank you guys so much for all the sweet messages. For those of you who don't know, I got diagnosed with COVID last week. Hi, Ellie. And so I've been laying a little bit lower than I would otherwise in this group, but not too low because I love this space. So I feel like I'm doing the news, right? Like it's time for the 9 o'clock news with Rita. Hello, Lana. Hello, Ellie. I'm so excited for today. I am so excited for today. If you're here, say hi. Let me know you're here. Guys, how many of you struggle with boundaries in your business? Yes or no? Like, let's just cut right to it. Today we are talking about setting boundaries, but specifically setting boundaries in your business, in different containers of your business. And I titled this like how to get more clients and make more sales by setting and enforcing boundaries. But people are like, well, what do you mean? And yes, I mean like boundaries around your time and honoring your time blocks. And we're going to talk about all of that. But I realize when I work with people, so many people don't know what it means to set boundaries in your sales process, to set boundaries in your containers of your business. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But I want to know, what boundaries do you struggle with in general when it comes to being a business owner? This is such a good topic. This is like my favorite topic to talk about. Do you struggle with honoring your time? Do you find it difficult to stick to pricing? Like, do you come up with a price for a program or a product or a service, but you find yourself flexing on the price? Do you make a rule in your business? Like, I will accept no more of these types of projects. And then you're accepting them, right? Do you have a hard time around interaction? Like if you run a Facebook group or a community, like it feels like you're always in your Facebook group or your community. Do you find yourself on sales calls and like you're giving so much value? You're giving like great big value on your sales calls, but you're not converting those sales calls into clients. Are you with your clients that you have? Are you like over delivering, like really giving great value, which isn't bad, but you find yourself like what's supposed to be a 45-minute coaching call or something turns into like an hour and 30 minutes, or you get retained. The scope of work is to do X, Y, and Z. And suddenly now the scope of work is also including 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, and you're working around the clock and you're doing it all. So let me know if you're here, and if you're watching on replay, I want to know, what is one boundary or more, however many you guys want to share, that you struggle with. Guys, I'm going to need your energy today. While I have been very fortunate that my COVID symptoms are mild, I do like my energy depletes faster. And for me, you guys know I'm like a very energetic person. So I need your interaction today, guys. I need your interaction. Please, that will help me so much. But I'm excited for this. So tell me, what boundaries do you struggle with in your business? Is it time boundaries? Is it your pricing boundaries? Is it how you serve your clients? Is it how you serve your community? Is it all of it? Tell me what boundaries you have, right? And I get it because a lot of people, when they hire me, they come to me and they're like, Rita, I'm not making, hi, Patty, hello, hi, everybody. When people come and hire me, they're like, Rita, I'm not making the money I want. I'm not getting the clients I want, but I am working all the time. Like I am doing everything that I can think of. I'm on Twitter and I'm on Clubhouse and I'm on Facebook and I'm on LinkedIn and I'm going to all of these networking events and I'm writing all of this content and I'm doing all of this stuff and I just don't have any more time to do anything else. So Rita, I don't have the clients I want or the revenue I want, but I don't have time to do more. I don't know what else I can do. And I totally get that because there's so many ways to do so many things in so many, am I right? Like if you feel like that, please say yes in the comments, right? That there's so many ways to do so many things in so many places, but not just in your business. There are also so many ways to do so many things in so many places in your life. And you want to live your life, right? I mean, That's why you have a business, is to support the life that you want to live. But like when it comes to your time, and so Patty just said time boundaries, right? Yeah, 100%, right? So when it comes to your time, what you're finding is you feel stretched and you feel overwhelmed. You feel a little lost, like out of all of these things, what should I be doing? You are filling your time, your days are full, but you're not generating the income you want. So when your time is like that, when you're feeling stretched and you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling like you're doing all the things, but you don't have the results in business that you want, you have to pause. You have to take a pause and you have to say, wait a minute, like I am doing too much. I need to set firmer boundaries. This is where you might hear do less, get more. Do less doesn't mean do nothing. And do less doesn't mean like whittle it down to where you're only working 1 hour a day. I'm not saying that you can't only work 1 hour a day and make a business. You could, right? But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this idea of doing less by setting rules, setting guidelines, setting containers at different points of your business, right? We have different stages of our business, different touch points of our business. And we have to look at them all to set really firm boundaries. And then we have to know how to enforce the boundaries. And when you do that, right, that's where success comes from. So so I see that, Patty's like, yes, she struggles with time boundaries. Who else? Who struggles with time boundaries? It could be honoring your own time blocks. It could be that you give too much to a client. Maybe a client is like a 30 or 45-minute call, but you're constantly going over. Maybe you got hired to do a certain scope of work, but you do more than you were hired for. And I'm not talking about it being wrong to over deliver, but we're going to talk about controlling that, right? Maybe it's your pricing. You set like a boundary around your pricing, but you find yourself flexing on your pricing. Maybe it's that you say, I'm not taking these kinds of clients anymore. I'm not going to do these kinds of projects. I'm not going to do this kind of work. Maybe it's through networking and the way that you're having one-on-ones with people and the way that you're meeting people that you have trouble with boundaries. So I'm curious. And again, if you're watching on replay, please let me know in the comments, like, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to setting and enforcing boundaries in your business? Now, when I started my business, I mean, as the same way, right? I got requests to do about everything you can think of. First of all, I was going to serve every kind of client. I was going to speak everywhere I could speak. I was asked to be on podcasts. I said yes to all of them. I was asked to guest blog. I said yes to that. I wanted to be on every social media platform that was out there. I went to all the networking meetings. I went to like all of the events, right? I said yes to almost everything. So how many of you feel like that's you, that you're in a phase of your business right now where you are like in yes mode? If people say, do you want to do this? You say yes. If people say, would you like to be on this? You say yes. If people say, do you want to show up here? You say yes. It's like an instinctive yes. How many of you are in yes mode in your business? Let me know. Say, I'm in yes mode or something. I'm so bad at doing that piece of the live. Like comment, put a yay in the comments below. But like, let me know, right? Like, let me know in the comments below. But I was saying yes to all of the opportunities, and I was looking for clients like everywhere that I could find when I started my business. So how many of you, does that sound like you? And guys, I have, like, full disclosure, I have my notes here. It's like the 9 o'clock news with Rita Goodrow, right? So if you see me looking down, I just don't want to miss anything, right? So I posted to my Facebook page. When I first started my business, I posted saying, I want to talk to 100 people. I want to talk to 100 people about any challenge that you're having in any area of your life, because I didn't really know that I wanted to do date coaching. That's how I started my business, right? It was as a date coach. And so I wanted to vet that. So I was like, I want to talk to 100 people about any challenge that you're having for free. And so I had this whole like talk to 100 people, which filled up my calendar, right? When I wasn't talking to people like that, I was in this Facebook group. I was serving this Facebook community. Every single question that was asked in this community, I answered. Every post that was posted, I commented. Everything that was shared, I commented on. I shared content at 4, 5, 6 times a day. I was running free challenges and free live stream series both in the same month. I created engagement in this group any way I could. Community engagement questions. I was running book clubs. I was running live mastermind groups, right? I was doing everything that I could in this group. And, right, so I'm just giving you a behind the scenes peek at when I first started my business. So I was saying yes to all the opportunities for visibility, all the social media platforms, all the guest blogs, all the interviews, all the guest expert appearances, all the networking groups, all the places. And I was looking for all kinds of clients anywhere I could, right? Every place that I could possibly get clients, I was looking. I put out a request for free calls. I was showing up like gangbusters in this group, right? Creating engagement. And any sales call that I had, and if this sounds like you, I want to know. So please let me know if this is you in the comments. Every sales call that I had went longer than the time that it was scheduled for. How many of you, yes or no, when you get on a sales call, whatever you call them, discovery calls, consultations, clarity calls, strategy sessions, whatever you call them, they are your sales call. And you get on and you have like a 30-minute block or a 45-minute block or whatever it is, but you go over. Yes? Does that sound like you? If you extend your sales calls, please, if you please stand up. Like if you would, I did it, right? I did it at the beginning of my business. I would have like a 45-minute window for a sales call, and I would consistently be exceeding it because I wanted to exceed expectations. When I first started working with clients and we would have client calls scheduled, right? And I think I was doing hour-long client calls when I first scheduled or started my business. I would always be going over the time, right? We would talk till like for an hour and a half or something like that. So with all of the visibility, with all of the relationship building, right? With doing all of that, yes, it was not long before my business took off. Okay. My business definitely took off. And my business grew and I got clients, and then my business started pivoting, right? I moved from date coaching into business coaching very quickly. This group changed, my branding changed, like a lot was changing about my business. But here's what did not change. As my business grew, because of all the things I was doing, all the yes that I was doing, right? All of this stuff was happening and my business changed, but that back end did not change. The way that I was like, spending my time, the way I was interacting with my community, the way that I was like participating in things, right? That didn't change, even though my business had changed. So I continued to welcome new clients, and I wanted to, but I did that while keeping that same extreme level of visibility, that same extreme level of taking advantage of all the opportunities, that same extreme access to Rita in all the places, in all the ways. Okay. You guys are really quiet. You guys are super quiet today. I'm telling you, COVID Rita, COVID Rita needs interaction. COVID Rita needs interaction. So I'm just, this one time, if you guys can give me some, I know it's early. I know it's like 9:15 on a Wednesday, but any interaction is great. It keeps my brain focused. So let me know, though. Let me know if that sounds like you, right? Are you doing the same thing? Do you feel the same way? Like you're in all the places, doing all the things in all the ways. You are overextending. There's so much access to you, whether it's to your audience or to your community or to potential clients or to people you network with. You are overextending all of this stuff, right? So this becomes the important part to note, is that my business was growing. I'm not saying that that did not grow my business. That absolutely grew my business. Hello, you're going to have to tell me who you are, because unless you authorize your name with StreamYard, like go to streamyard.com/Facebook and just say it's okay to show me your name. Otherwise, just tell me who you are, but hello. So my business was growing. I was welcoming new clients, but all of the other stuff that was bringing in new clients had not changed, okay? So there was one night that I remember, oh, bless my husband. Bless my husband. There was one night that I can just remember. He brought me ice cream. He knows I love ice cream. I love ice cream. And he brought me ice cream, and I looked at it, and it was the wrong flavor ice cream. It was like an ice cream I don't like at all. And I started yelling at him. I was so terrible. I was like, I can't believe you bring me the wrong flavor of ice cream. Like, shouldn't you know me by now? Like, we've been married. Like, I don't know. I don't even remember, right? But I do remember that I just started crying. Like, oh, hey, Alvin. Hi. I do remember that I just started crying. I remember that I was yelling at him, and I sat down and I was crying, and the reason was not because he brought me the wrong flavor ice cream, although I still hold to this day he should know what flavor ice cream I like. But It wasn't because he brought me the wrong flavor ice cream, right? It was because I was overwhelmed. I was exhausted. I was feeling resentful. I was lacking energy. And the whole reason I was in that place was because I had no parameters around how or when I was operating in my business. So even if I was setting boundaries, even if I was trying to set boundaries, people in my business were not respecting them because I wasn't enforcing them. So even if I tried to, people weren't respecting them because I wasn't enforcing them. There were no guidelines. I did not put guidelines in my business that made people able to move through all the different touch points of my business from point A to point Z with clear guidelines about what to do or what not to do, making it easy to do or not to do something. And of course, all of this was coming from a good place, right? How many of you feel like this? All of this was coming from a good place. I wanted to help as many people as I could, service-based, right? All the phrases in our heart-centered entrepreneur, service-based, all of that stuff. I wanted to help as many people as I could help. This community, this group, the audiences where I was going and speaking, current clients, I really wanted to serve them. Prospective clients, I really wanted to give them value. All of my friends, all of my family, I still wanted to help them. But by having no strict guidelines, by having no boundaries, by having no containers, I was overextending myself, right? I was overextending myself. I was operating out of alignment with all of my values. And instead of helping everybody, I hurt everybody, right? And you couldn't even visibly see it because you would be like, how could you hurt people when you're giving them so much value? But trust me, I was, because I ended up yelling at my husband for bringing me the wrong flavor ice cream, right? So that night that I was crying, I gave myself permission to make really big changes in my business. And the minute that I did this, my business doubled, my revenue doubled. And I say the minute, it was like a couple months. But from where I was at that moment, right, like times two, my revenue doubled, and I was doing less because I had these strict rules. I don't mean I was working. I didn't go from working 30 hours to 2. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I was doing in each container was less. And that's what I want to talk about. And I was able to prioritize self-care. I was able to have white space in my business. I was able to cultivate relationships, right? So how many of you, does that sound good to you? How many of you want to know? I mean, obviously I'm going to tell you, I'm just trying to get interaction and energy on this Facebook Live. But how many of you feel like that would help you if you knew how to set and enforce boundaries in your business, but not just any boundary? I'm talking about setting and enforcing boundaries in a way that will increase sales, that will increase your clients, and that will support the things that matter most in your life. Because that's what I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to share with you how I do it. I'm going to share with you how you can do it. What do I mean by containers? What do I mean about different touch points? What do I mean about, so you probably want to have a pen and paper if you're watching this. If you're watching this on replay, get your pen and paper, right? And I'm going to share with you like the way that I outgrew boundaries, and then the new boundaries I put in place, and when I knew to do this, and all of that. So what is something that you feel like you're doing right now that no longer serves you? I have this question for you. Maybe you have an answer. Maybe you don't. It's okay to type, I don't know. That's okay too. But how many of you can think about something that you were doing when your business first started and you're still doing it, even though that thing doesn't serve you as well anymore? That thing doesn't serve you as much anymore. So let me know in the comments what that thing is. I'm going to share some of mine. But before I do, I'm going to tell you about a client, because I always love telling you about one of my clients. So I was on a coaching session with a client, and she was experiencing big growth. She had been getting extremely visible. She was doing all the things in all the places, saying yes to everything, right? Doing the guest experts, doing the guest blogs, doing articles, networking everywhere, speaking everywhere, getting on Facebook Live, getting on Twitter, getting on Clubhouse, getting all the places. And she was experiencing huge growth in her community and in her list. She was getting emails daily now for her services, for scheduling sales calls. She was getting requests to speak multiple places. She was filling her days with sales calls. So why did she call me? Why did she call a business coach, right? Well, she did it because she was frustrated. She was frustrated that all of this interaction and all of these opportunities and all of these like sales calls were not converting into new clients and sales. Yeah. Alvin says, yours is about working past 5 or 6 p.m. 100% honoring time boundaries is one of the biggest, most like difficult struggles that business owners have. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it here today. So she was frustrated because she was doing all these things. How many of you feel the same way? I'm curious, how many of you are doing all of this stuff? You're in all the places doing all the things, saying yes, just like I've talked about. And you're getting interest, you're getting hits for collaborations or potential clients or what, but nothing's quite panning out. Like you're not actually getting the new sales. You're not getting the new clients or not in the way that you want. Or you're not having the actual collaborations play out. I'm curious about that. So we were talking, and as we dug into it, same thing as what I was sharing about me, right? She had not updated her sales process. I dug into her sales process. And even though she had started her business about 8 months earlier, and her business had picked up traction, right? She started her business. She had no clients. Her days were empty. She had no speaking engagements. She had no opportunities. Right now, cut to her days being full of all of this. Oh, Kim. Hey, Kim. Hey, Kim. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, to make it easier, you can go to StreamYard.com and /Facebook, StreamYard.com/Facebook, and authorize it, and it will just show me your name. So just FYI if you want to. But she had not updated her sales process since starting her business. So her business had changed drastically, but all of that stuff hadn't. Like, in fact, 3 months earlier, 3 months before the time that we were just having our coaching call, she had her first moment of being fully booked with a waiting list. Okay, that's how much her business had changed, right? So it was allowing her, she was able to leave. So when she first started her business, she was working another job. She was working a part-time job. But now, 8 months later, she had left that part-time job. When she first started her business, she had no clients, but now she was fully booked with a waiting list. When she first started her business, she didn't really have any speaking engagements. Now she was getting asked to speak everywhere, right? So she had all of this free time now because she left her part-time job. That's why she was wanting more clients, right? She had become fully booked with a waiting list, but she was able to leave her job. And she's like, okay, now I have double the amount of time. I want more clients. I want to grow my business. And I'm really confused because none of this visibility stuff, none of these marketing or sales things that I'm doing are playing out at all. Nothing's playing out at all. So I asked, well, tell me about the boundaries. Tell me about the boundaries that you have put into place for your sales process. What are the boundaries that you put into place for your sales process? And she said, I don't know what you're talking about. So if I asked you that, would you know how to answer that? Yes or no? So if I say, what boundaries have you put into the different phases of your sales process? Would you have boundaries or not? Say, yes, I have boundaries, or no, I don't, or whatever, just so I get an idea. But that's what I had asked her. I said, what boundaries, what guidelines did you put into place at different pieces of your sales process? And she's like, I haven't really implemented any. I haven't implemented. So I said, well, tell me everything. And I wrote it down so I could share it with you. I said, tell me everything that you're doing to get clients. And she said, well, I have a Facebook group and I'm answering all of the questions. Every single question anybody asks in my Facebook group, I'm answering it. She said, look, I'm giving my scheduling link for calls to everyone I speak to. If I speak online, if I speak in a room full of people, with my email, with my newsletters, I'm always giving my links so people can schedule a call. She said, anytime that people ask me to speak, Rita, I'm there. I want to get visible. So I'm accepting every podcast interview. I'm accepting every speaking engagement. She said, look, I'm getting tons of private messages from people who are interested on Facebook, and I'm responding to all of them. I'm getting DMs on Instagram. I'm responding to all of them. I'm answering all of the questions. I'm even providing them some one-off coaching, like through direct message. I'm even providing them answers to some of their problems in these interactions, right? I'm giving them real value. I'm doing weekly Facebook Lives like you, Rita. I'm posting daily content. I'm sending out all of these newsletters. And when I go out networking, everybody wants to meet for a one-on-one, and I'm scheduling all of these one-on-ones. Like, this is everything I'm doing to get clients, and it's not working. And I said, okay, detail out your schedule for me for the past 2 weeks. And she went through and she said, okay, in addition to everything I just told you that I've been doing over the past 2 weeks, I have client calls and I am going over, she was tracking her time. Guys, if you don't track your time, track your time. She's like, I see that I'm going over the allotted time for coaching calls. I have I have a set time for my sales calls, and I'm completely extending the time for my sales calls. I'm holding tons of contests for free coaching calls, and I'm scheduling these calls, these extra calls to get clients during my free time. So like, after 5, after 6, like whatever those free times are, that's where she was plugging in all of these free calls. And I said, okay, look, the longer that you're in business, the more important it is to set aside time to create boundaries, and you have no boundaries. You just said you have set no boundaries in your sales process. You're telling me everything that you're doing to get clients, everything you're doing to get visible, all the things you're doing, and how you're overextending even the rules you've set for those. So we need to create clear containers and boundaries. Boundaries are crucial for success. And I will say that at the beginning, having no containers served her just like it did me, right? At the beginning, when you have no clients, you have no opportunities, you have no customers, you're not getting sales calls scheduled, right? You want to be like that open. Does that make sense? So having that extreme visibility, saying yes to all the things served her at the beginning of her business. But as her business grew, she didn't change that. She didn't change those processes. It was not serving her anymore. Right? While it served her at the beginning, it was not serving her anymore. So we got to work. We got to work creating some boundaries. And at first, she really, really, really resisted implementing them. How many of you kind of resist the boundaries that you start creating and implementing them, right? She was worried, if I do this, I'm not going to get new clients. If I stop getting as visible, if I stop being as helpful, if I stop answering all these questions, if I stop setting all these calls, if I stop doing all this thing, it's going to cost me new business. But I said, but you're already not getting new business. Like the whole reason you contacted me, right? Like the whole reason she contacted me and the whole reason we were having this conversation is you want new business and you're not getting new business. So you're doing all of these things and you're already not getting new business, but you're scared to implement these boundaries and enforce these boundaries because you're scared it's going to cost you new business, but you're already not getting new business. So like, you're not going to lose anything. And she was like, well, all right. Okay, Rita. So she went all in on enforcing. And when she did, she got fully booked out for a year. Like within just a couple of months, she was fully booked out with all of those other spots for the rest of the year. So how many of you are getting a lot of interest, but it's not resulting in clients or it's not resulting in sales? Say yes, say me. Type me. I have to always give you guys words to type so I know what question you're responding to. So type me if that sounds like you. You're getting a lot of interest, but none of it is resulting in new clients or new sales. How many of you are curious about the boundaries that we created in her business and how they helped her, right? Because that's what I'm going to share with you. So what are boundaries? Do you guys know? What are boundaries? Do you have a stab at the answer? I feel like Bueller. Come on, give Rita some energy. I feel like I should be dancing. Guys, come on. This is my window. Like in the afternoon, I get a little tired. I'm lucky. All my COVID symptoms have been super mild. On Friday, I should technically be out of the window of contagion. But yeah, I need energy. So boundaries are the way that people treat you. Boundaries are the way that other people treat you. Standards are how you treat people. Okay. So you might hear the phrases intertwine boundaries and standards. Standards are how you treat people. Boundaries are how other people treat you. So I want you to see that difference, right? When you live or when you're holding on to a mindset of scarcity, okay, that there's not enough. Patty says, rules, tell me rules. When you live in a mindset that there isn't enough, okay, so that means you're not living in this abundance mindset. You think there's just not enough. There's not going to be enough people for me to date. There's not going to be more love that'll come my way. I'll never meet another person like this. What if this client who wants to work with me, who's not really a great fit client for me, what if there's not another client who comes along, right? When you live in this mindset of there's not enough or there's lack or there's scarcity, you will hold on to things that no longer serve you. You will hold on to people that no longer serve you. You will hold on to processes that no longer serve you. You will hold on to situations that no longer serve you because, right, you feel like something else won't come along. You feel like there won't be anything to come take its place. So That means you won't ask for things. You won't ask for things you want or need. This shows up in relationships all the time, right? In dating, like it's a person that you know you probably shouldn't be with, but you're scared of being alone and you're scared that nobody else will come and that there won't be anybody better. So you stay in kind of the wrong, bad relationship. And because now you don't want to lose that relationship, you won't speak up. You won't ask for the things that you want or need in a relationship, right? Happens in our business all the time. Like when you think, oh, there aren't going to be enough potential clients to come, so I can't change all of these ways I'm getting visible. I can't change my sales process. I can't change how I'm interacting with people because what if I don't get new business? So then, right, you're not going to put things in place that you want or you need. And what happens is you will end up in the world of overwhelm, you will end up in the world of exhaustion, you will end up in the world of resentment, and you will end up in the world of frustration. So when you set and enforce boundaries, it protects your time, your physical and mental health, it protects your relationships, your finances, your values, and it's what makes business fun. This makes business fun. That's what it's supposed to be, with ample space for you to live a life you love, which again is why you're running a business, right? So how can you do it? How can you set and enforce boundaries that protect you and your relationships and your business? Okay, so I'm going to give you some quick tips, but then I'm going to give you examples. Okay, so we're going to go through the tips really quickly. Then I'm going to give you some real hardcore examples. Number one, you have to be in a mindset of abundance. You have to work on mindset. Non-negotiable. Mindset needs to be the number one thing you work on anyway in your business. But here's what I mean. Remember, if you're in a place of lack, of scarcity, of there not being enough, a fear that something else isn't going to come along, you will hold on to situations, processes, and people that don't serve you. So to get out of that, to be able to set boundaries and actually enforce them, you must cultivate a mindset of abundance, that there is enough, that there is plenty, that there will always be something to come fill the space that you're creating. So you have to work on that, right? And if you're not sure how to do that, maybe that's a reason for you to schedule one of the free coaching calls with me and we can talk about it. We can see if working together may help you. But you have to learn how to cultivate this mindset of abundance. The next is, and this is a good way to start figuring out the containers. So when I say, what are the different containers where we need to set rules? This is a good way to do it. I want you to visualize the life that you want to be living. Okay, so visualize the life that you want to be living. Do you want to be traveling? Pretend the world is normal. Do you want to be traveling? Do you want to be spending more time with your family? Do you want, more time napping? Like, do you want to be networking more? Like, do you want to be around people? What life do you want to have? Like, really visualize that life. Write down some notes about the life that you want to be living. Okay. Oh, I love this. I normalize asking for large sums of money. Yes. Yes, and setting to your pricing boundaries, that's a boundary. When you set a price, do you honor that boundary or are you flexing on that boundary, right? So that's something that we're going to talk about. So cultivate the mindset of abundance. There's always enough. There's always something that will come to take the space of something that's not a good fit or somebody that says no. Visualize the life that you want to be living. But when you're visualizing it, ask yourself this question. And so here's what I want some answers to in the comments. What do you need more of? What do you need less of? So what do you need more of or less of? And I'm writing these down. More of or less of in your business and in your life to support that life. So maybe you need more money. Maybe you need less time in front of the computer. So tell me a few things that are coming up for you. What do you need more of in your business to live the life that you want? What do you need less of in your business to live the life you want? Can you answer that? Can you put some answers in the comments for me? Some people say, you know what? I want less time in front of the computer and I want more time with my kids. I want more serving clients and less time writing content. I want more time. I want more time having fun with family and friends in my life, and that means I want less. I don't know. I want less client calls or something like that. Like, all of your answers are going to be different, but this is how you start realizing what containers we need to create rules around. So think about that life you want to be living and then say, what do I need more of or less of in my business to be able to step into that life? And then I want you to write out everything that needs to be true, everything that needs to be true to advance those priorities in the most efficient manner. Everything that needs to be true to advance those priorities. I love it. Kim is like, less time in front of the computer, more. So she needs, in her business, she needs more staff. She needs less computer time. She needs she needs bigger deals. So she needs the bigger clients. She wants more serving clients. She wants less, she wants more keynotes. So she wants more speaking. She wants more speaking, right? Less time like computer, maybe doing admin stuff, less time having sales calls, more time serving clients, right? Okay. Then I want you to write out everything that has to be true to advance these priorities in the most efficient manner, right? So it might be like, what needs to be true? So with Kim's, right, she might say, what needs to be true? That I have a VA who handles all of these kinds of tasks. And I have an online business manager who handles these kinds of tasks. And I have a client project manager who handles these kinds of tasks. And I have a copywriter who blah, blah, blah. And I have a graphics designer who XYZ. I mean, I'm not saying she needs all of these team members, but I'm saying what needs to be true. It's like, I have a process for blank. My my sales calls are no longer than 30 minutes. Like, I honor my time blocks. I kind of like what Kim said, I ask for large sums of money. I honor my pricing. I honor my pricing and don't flex on my pricing. I don't overextend sales call times. I honor the time blocks that I set. I believe there's always more. Like, these are the rules, the thoughts, the ideas that have to be true to advance the things that you want. And then identify what are some of the people, some of the resources, some of the places and things that will help you implement these boundaries. Okay. So let me give you an example of some of mine. Okay. And I wrote mine down because I wanted to give you like actual hard examples. So I told you, excuse me, guys. I told you when I first started my business that I said yes to everything, just like my client, just like this story. I was doing all the things to get visible in all the ways because that's okay at the beginning of your business. When you have no sales calls, you have no clients, you have no speaking engagement, you're doing all of the things to be able to build all of the relationships and all of the ways to get that, right? But as my business grew, being selective in the choices that I made allowed me to move my business forward in big ways. So I had clear guidelines. When you have these guidelines, like what we just kind of said, like what needs to be true, what rules need to be true for you to have less time in front of the computer, less time in sales calls, like what things, rules, thoughts have to be true, what beliefs, what actions, what things have to be in place for these things to be true, right? It will create space for the right things to land. So here's the way that here's a tangible example. I took on every speaking engagement that I could find when I started growing my business, right? Because I wanted to build my list. I wanted to build my community. I wanted to get potential clients. So any speaking engagement, anytime I was selected to speak, it was a yes. It didn't matter if it was a main stage. It didn't matter if it was a breakout. It didn't matter if it was a panel. It didn't matter if it was an audience of 1 or an audience of 100. It did not matter. But then, right, I became known as a great speaker and people started emailing me and asking me to come speak all of the time. And even though I now had clients and I now had a bigger community and I had more going on in my business, I was still saying yes. I had not changed my process for selecting speaking engagements. So one thing that had to be true was I needed to set boundaries around the speaking engagements, right? I had to set a container. I could no longer take on every kind of speaking engagement because that was no longer serving my business. It was keeping me from serving clients. So do you see how once that rule served me, once having no boundary around what speaking engagements, which kind of is a boundary of its own, right? That having no rule or container around it like served me at the beginning, but now it was hurting my business. It was hurting my clients. It was hurting the people I was speaking to. I was speaking so many places. I didn't have time to do really great follow-up with all of the people who were in my audience, right? Like, so what served me as my business grew and changed no longer served me, but I had not changed the boundary because I had not really set a rule or a container around it. So that's one thing that I knew when I was doing the exercise I just gave you guys. I was like, I have to put container. I had to put my speaking engagements in a container. So what I did there is I said, the rule was I'm no longer available for unpaid panels. Okay. I am no longer available to be on unpaid panels. And the reason that I set that rule, right, was because I knew what role speaking was playing in growing my business. So speaking at this point in my business wasn't just about awareness and getting eyes on me. It was now very specifically calculated to, I wanted to get in front of my ideal clients so that I could grow my email list and I could grow the number of sales calls that I had. And when I was speaking in a breakout session, I was able to collect email addresses. I was able to offer calls. I was able to really connect. I also knew that I needed to be the sole person speaking in the room for that to happen quickly and effectively, right? That's where I was. At the beginning, speaking was more than that. But this is now the role that speaking was playing in my strategy. And so panels, when I really like sat down and did a dump of all the speaking I was doing, panels that were unpaid, right? Because another thing I was trying to do is move into paid speaking. So, but panels that were unpaid did not give me the ability to collect email addresses. It did not position me as really the credible expert or authority. I could not control the narrative or the conversation on a panel discussion. It did not allow me to offer sales calls, right? So it was no longer serving the reason I was using speaking in my business. So a rule became, I am no longer available for unpaid panels. And guess what happened? About a week after I set that rule, I got picked to speak, but not for a breakout session. It was for a panel. The panel was in another state and it was unpaid. And I was like, and it was something I wanted to do. It was for a dear friend. It was a topic that I love talking about. But I was like, no, I just set a rule. I literally had the rule written on a whiteboard. So I was like, I have to say no to that. I have to say no to that. And I said no because I knew that there would be more coming my way, right? I knew it. So what was another rule? Well, like I said, when I first started my business and first started this community, I would answer every single question in this Facebook group because I was really building my credibility, my expertise. I was building relationships. I was building, right? And there was no information in the group. The group was new. I did not have a database of 3 years or 4 years. How long have I been running this? Oh my gosh, guys, this group has been around for like 6 years, 6 years, 5 years. Wow. I did not have like a group full of 5 years worth of Facebook Lives. I did not have a group full of 5 years of educational posts. I did not have a group full of past challenges and past information to help you grow your business. Whenever I first started this group, there was like nothing in it, right? So of course I was showing up and putting all the information. Of course I was doing tons of challenges, leading lots of Facebook Lives, putting out incredible content, and answering every single question that was asked in this group. So if somebody posted an individual question like, Rita, can I run by you my elevator pitch? Or Rita, do you think this is a good speaking engagement for me? Or Rita, do you think that this is good for me to do on a sales call? Or Rita, I answered that question right here in this group, right? I answered that question because I wanted to help. I wanted to get value. I was showcasing my expertise. I was paying it forward. I wanted other people to be able to see that answer, right? But as my business grew and I had clients and it no longer became valuable to anybody for me to do that because I knew that I didn't have the time to actually collect like in these conversations in the Facebook group. So through DM or through comments in the Facebook group, I did not have the ability to really have the ongoing long conversation that I needed to get all of the information that I needed to make a really solid recommendation back Does that make sense? I did not have that time to really collect all of that information in a way that would really serve the person that I was answering, because I had clients and I had other speaking engagements now at this point in my business, and I had other things to do. So while at the beginning, answering every single question, right, it served me, now it was not. I was not able to really give the time and attention to it. I was not able to like really get, and I knew it was not helping the person on the other end. So I was like, well, what do I want to do? I wanted less time in front of the computer and more time serving people. I wanted less time in front of the computer and more time actually talking to people, coaching people, and helping people. So one of the guidelines, one of the rules I came up with was, I'm no longer available to answer individual questions in the Facebook group. I would answer general questions. I would answer kind of like very broad questions. But if there's an individual question, like you're in my Facebook group right now. If you have an individual question around your business and you post it in the Facebook group, I'll say, hey, Kim, why don't we get on the phone and chat about that, right? Like, let's have a 20-minute call. That way I can really quickly get the information I need and I can point you to the right resource, right? Or the right next step for you to answer that question. So the rule became, right, that I'm not available to answer individual questions. And why was that? Number one, I knew I would serve people better by getting the information I needed quickly and efficiently on a phone call. But I also now knew I had years and years of Facebook Lives and educational marketing. If you keyword search almost any challenge that you're having in this business, you're going to find something I've put out there to help you solve your challenge. So there were resources and abilities. I've given tons of value in this group, in this container. And so there's plenty of information here for people to sort through and find answers. So then it became, well, if you want me to answer individual questions for you, then I need to do that for people who are willing to get on the phone with me. So this is how I started setting containers in my sales process. So when I looked at my sales process, I was like, okay, my sales process is really my Facebook group is a piece of that, right? Really building relationships. And then it's sales calls, right? I have sales calls. And then I serve clients. Those are like the three main stages of my sales process. So I was like, well, what rules, what containers do I need to put in place for my sales process? And it became, okay, in terms of my Facebook group, fill it with value. Continue to fill it with value with Facebook Lives and good content, right? Content and Facebook Lives. But stop answering individual questions. So now the rule is I'm not available to answer individual specific questions about your business in the Facebook group or in a DM or in Instagram, right? But I am available to talk about those on a phone call. So now we have my sales call, right? So it's like, if you have an individual question about your business, then we get on a call, right? What else did I have to put in place about sales calls? Well, I couldn't overextend my time. My time for a sales call is 45 minutes. So a rule I put in place is I'm not available to go over 45 minutes in a sales call, okay? And something else was I am not available to coach people on a sales call. So at the beginning of my business, I didn't have clients. I didn't have credibility necessarily or the expertise or authority that I do now, right? Being around and having been so visible and having all of this information out there and all of this stuff. People can go Google me, they can talk to past clients, but I didn't have that at the beginning. So on sales calls, I was like, I call it tap dancing, but I felt like I had to prove my value to people, right? And in a way I kind of did, not really, but you know what I mean. I was like, if somebody called and said, Rita, I'm having trouble getting clients, and I realized it's because they don't know who their target market is. On the sales call, I would start coaching them to find their target market, right? So I had to create a rule saying I'm not available to coach because now I had clients. And so if I'm doing on a sales call what people are paying me to do for them, right, I'm out of integrity with serving my paid clients. So now the rule became I'm not available to coach on a sales call. The sales call is just to see, it's really, I call my calls a clarity call because it's to get clear. It's to get clear on what your goals are, get clear on if I can help you with those, help you get the results you want, get clear on what the next step would be, and get clear on if we want to work together. That's what my sales calls are. It's not a coaching call, right? If you want me to coach you, you need to be a client, right? So serving clients was, I only coach clients. And I also then had the rule that I don't overextend my client calls. My client calls are 45 minutes. I don't overextend my 45 minutes, right? So do you see how I did this? Yes or no? Is this like resonating with you? Is this when I said, what do I need more of and what do I need less of? That led me down the thing of, I need less time in front of my computer. Okay, well, where am I spending a lot of time in front of my computer? Answering questions in Facebook. And here's what I mean by like not having clear guidelines and containers was not making it easy for people to know what to do or not to do and when to do something or not to do something. So if I answered individual questions in my Facebook group repeatedly, they never knew when they really needed to get on a phone call with me. If I was coaching on a sales call, they never really knew when did they need to hire me. I was making it confusing. I was making it hard. I was making it difficult for them to know when to take the next step with me, right? Because there was no clear guideline or rules or boundaries around that. But then, and I communicated them. I remember doing a live where I said, guys, here's the deal, and here's what I'm doing, and here's why I'm doing this. And people knew, and now people know it's my rule. If people ask an individual question about their business in my group, I will say, I would love to talk to you about that, but I need to do that on a call. So here's a link. Please schedule a call and we can dive into that. And if people don't schedule a call, I'm not going to have that discussion. So I've had people before say, oh, but Rita, no, it's really quick. Can we just have one quick, can I just like hammer this out with you in a DM or something? And I'll say, no, actually, I'm sorry, I can't do that, right? Like my rule is if you want, because I tell them why. I know that I need more information that I'm going to be able to collect to give you a really solid response. And we need to have that conversation. So if you're willing to hop on the phone with me for 20 minutes, great, right? If not, then there are plenty of free resources in my community that you can search and find the answer to. Does that make sense? So like, that's how I was making it easy. Now people know, okay, if I have a specific question about my business, I need to schedule a call with Rita. But also letting people know I don't coach on these calls. I very clearly communicate. Here's what a clarity call is. It's to help you get clear on what might be holding you up. It's to help you get clear on what that next goal is or the result you're wanting. It's to help you get clear on what's keeping you from the results that you want in your business. It's to get clear on what you need then to move forward. It's to get clear on if we are a good match to work together. That is what a sales call is for. You will walk away with a clip from a clarity call with clarity. You will know what's holding you back. You will know what you need to move forward. You will know what resources and support I can give to do that. You will know if we are a good fit to work together, right? That's what it's for. So not coaching allows people to know I have to hire Rita. Like I have to hire Rita. I also had a rule that like, because I started having people scheduling multiple clarity calls, trying to get free coaching for multiple clarity calls. And I was like, nope. One call. You get one call to talk about this. And once we get clear, then that's it. If you want to continue to talk to me about that issue. Now, if you had a clarity call with me about like getting clients and then like 6 months later, you're like, Rita, I want to start speaking. That's something totally different. We will have another clarity call to see if we're a good fit about that new goal or that new thing, right? But I had to put rules in place. Not only did putting rules in place help me get more of what I wanted in my life and less of what I didn't want, right? And started creating the boundaries for that. But it made it easier for people to move through a process. People like clear containers. They like to know, when does this happen? When does that happen? When does that happen? And when you're making that murky, when you're making that kind of hard to understand, you're making it difficult for people to do things. Does that make sense? So Kim said, I've stopped discounting my services. That has not been easy, but I also know it will keep me from being frustrated when offering the same service, knowing I'm doing it for less. Yes, like when you set, like the only way you can start making the rates that you want to make is by holding firm to the rates, right? If you're always discounting them, or you'll never be able to make the rates you want to make, right? But that comes from having that abundance mindset, that if somebody doesn't land and they're not a good fit, then there will be more to come, right? What other rules did I put in place? Oh, networking. So networking was a rule. How many of you go out and network, or like in a regular world, you're out in person networking, or you're networking a lot online and you end up getting requests for one-on-ones? So at the beginning of my business, doing one-on-ones served me. I was out in person. I was a date coach when I first started, and I was out in person and I was networking, and people were asking me to coffee. Let's have a one-on-one so we can get to know each other and we can get to know about each other's business and we can see how we can support each other. How many of you are doing those? Yes or no? How many of you do one-on-ones? Say, I do one-on-ones. I do one-on-ones. I want to know. And if you're on replay and you do one-on-ones, let me know. Do you do one-on-ones? But I did at the beginning of my business, right? I was always in the coffee shop. I was always having one-on-ones, right? Well, at the beginning of my business, that served me. But like I said, at a different point of my business, it didn't. I didn't have time for the projects I wanted to do. I didn't have time to serve the clients that I want in the way that I really wanted to. It did. So I had to say, okay, this is a piece of my marketing and sales networking. So what is serving me? What do I want more of? What do I want less of? So Kim said I do one-on-ones. So here is a rule that I put in place, right? I was going, if I went out and spoke, or if I went out and networked and I started getting messages like, Rita, I'd love to have a one-on-one with you. I'd love to, I couldn't just go have coffee with every single person anymore that wanted to meet me. I was meeting a lot of people. A lot of people were requesting one-on-ones. A lot of people were wanting to schedule an hour so we could talk about each other's business. And I couldn't do that, right? So I said, okay, here's the deal. I started having 10-minute coffee conversations virtually. Now, this is before COVID, right? But I said, okay, here's my process now for this. If somebody meets me out networking or meets me speaking and they want to get to know about me, awesome. Their first step is a 10-minute virtual coffee chat, right? So if somebody said, Rita, oh my God, I love meeting you at this meeting. Let's get together for coffee. I live down the street from you. Let's get together and meet and have a one-on-one. I would say, I'd love to connect with you. The first step of how I do that is to have a 10-minute virtual coffee chat. So here's the link, right? During that chat, I'm learning all about you. I'm learning as much as I can about you so I can figure out how we might be able to give each other value. So if you'd like to connect more, feel free. There's a link. And I had, just like Kim just said, I had certain days and certain times. But what I was not available for was a 1-hour call with somebody when I had no idea how or why we might serve each other, right? Or if we would serve each other, or what their motivation really was for the call. So I was not available, right, for that. I was not available for immediate 1-hour one-on-ones with everybody, right? What I was available for was for people who wanted to and were willing to schedule a 10-minute virtual coffee chat with me during the time blocks that I had available. I was willing to do that. During the 10 minutes, I'm curious. I'm asking questions about them. I'm not talking about me. I'm saying, so tell me what made you want to reach out and schedule this call with me. Like, tell me how you see us being able to give value to each other. Tell me about you. Tell me about your business. And what I'm looking for is there synergy? Is there potential? Were they just trying to pick my brain? Were they actually thinking they want to work with me? Are they thinking that there might be some collaboration? Like, what, do they just have questions about my community? Are they trying to sell me something? Like, I could find out in that 10 minutes. And what I'm asking myself is there something here for me to want to schedule more time with them, right? And then I can make the decision, do I want to have a 1-hour call or a 45-minute call? Do I want to go meet you in person? Do I want to set up another meeting, right? So putting distance between that. Like, some people are just like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll have a 1-hour with everybody, right? Cool, but also not cool, because when you're telling me you're overwhelmed and you're stretched and you don't have time to do everything you want to do and get all the results you want, all of these 1-hour one-on-ones, it's not helping you because you don't have the results that you want, right? So like, we have to go, okay, what are my rules and my boundaries around how my networking works? That was one of the best rules I ever put in place. It's just an automatic default. I no longer just do 1-hour meetings right away, and I no longer do in-person coffee chats right away. The first step is a 10-minute coffee chat for me to learn about you virtually. It doesn't even matter. Even if it was post-pandemic, this would still be virtual for me, right? So that I can learn and I can see what's the next step. Where do I want to schedule you and put you as the next step? Okay, does that help people? Because I see Kim does one-on-one. Kim says she has a specific day of the week. She does those only once a month, right? And Patty says I do one-on-ones on Zoom, so she keeps it virtual. But do you see how even controlling your time more by saying, wait a minute, before I even know why we might connect, let's just have 10 minutes to figure that out. Once I figure that out, then I can put you in a different call. I can put you in a different container, right? Okay, so those were some of the rules and some of the guidelines that I did, right? I am no longer available for Facebook messages on Facebook. I told my clients this. I've told prospective clients this, and my team now responds to Facebook messages. I've reached a point in my business where I get so many Facebook and Instagram messages now, so many private messages. I no longer check my private messages. I told my family, I told my friends, I don't check it. My team is checking it. There's nothing private in my Facebook messages. Do not message. If you want to tell me something personal or private, dear family, dear friends, dear clients, right? Clients have a coaching portal that they can use. Family and friends have an email or a phone number that they can pick up and call me. But I made it very clear, Facebook messages are not, so I tell people in my group, and if somebody does send me a Facebook message, my team now responds and says, Rita is no longer checking these Facebook messages. However, you can email her, you can call her, you can X, Y, and Z, right? So I had to set a rule around that. That served me at the beginning of my business. That doesn't serve me now, and I don't even have enough time to do it timely where it was helping. So I'm getting my team in there and getting my team to do that was really, really helpful, right? So I'm going to be having my team do that more, like looking at my messages, responding to messages, to emails, to things like that. Like that's the next level of what I'm putting in my business in a bigger way. So that's something relatively new because I kind of did it and then I didn't enforce it, but now I really need to enforce it, right? And that's why it's like less time in front of the computer, less time going back and forth, less time. So what do I need? I need my team. I need a rule. What's my rule? My rule is, right, I don't return messages on Facebook. You can email me, or you can use your client portal, or you can schedule a call with me, or you can whatever, or you can share it in my Facebook group. But I'm just not available for those private messages anywhere because of the way that my business model works, right? What else? Because I know you guys wanted to know what other boundaries. So let's see. Yeah, oh, right, ending on, I let my clients, so one thing I did with my clients, because my email inbox was getting full, and so one of my things was I need less email time. I need less email time, right? So I was like, well, what rule do I have to put in place around that? So I put in rules around who I respond to, how I respond, when I respond. And one of the rules was clients, I do not return emails, period. And you're like, what? You don't return your emails from your clients? They have a coaching portal. I use a project management system called Basecamp. They have their own private coaching portal, and it has all of these ways we can communicate. And it has like a never-ending chat feature for us. And I say, clients, if you have a question for me, you must put it in your coaching portal because everything is kept in that one place. It's easy to search, it's easy to find, and it's like a bat phone to me. I check the client portals twice a day, right? I check my email maybe not even once every day because of how out of control my email is, right? So like I say, clients, you have a bat line, use it. And to get them to do it, I had to start enforcing it. When I first came up with that rule, when I was like, clients, if you want to message me about anything, the only place I will respond is your client coaching portal. If you email me, I will not respond. Guess what happened? Clients kept emailing me. The only way I was going to get that rule to work was by enforcing it. When I started, and it was hard. It was so hard to do, but I just started deleting those emails without responding. I could have written back. I could have said, hey, bring this to your coaching portal. Hey, but I just started deleting it. They figured it out really quickly. Oh, why didn't you respond to that? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm supposed to put it in the coaching portal. Okay, I'll put it in the coaching portal, right? So it's about enforcing those boundaries and not being flexy, right? Does that help? Again, when you flex on things, you make it harder for people to decide, right? You make it harder for people to know what they have to do and when they have to do it. If you're like, I have a 6-month program and this is how I work with clients, and somebody's like, yeah, but couldn't you work with me for 3 months, or couldn't we pull out some services? If that's not the way your business works, don't flex on that. They won't know that they have to say yes or no to something. They won't know that they have to make a clear decision, right? But if you say, no, unfortunately, that's just not how I work, right? There's a reason why I have this way of working with people. Here's why I won't, change that. But I'd love to work with you and support you. So now they know they have to make a decision. They have to say yes or no to that container, right? Again, the abundance mindset is what allows that, right? So just know, I think the whole takeaway from this is just because you did something in your business once doesn't mean you have to do that forever and ever and ever even, okay? Just because you were generous in answering questions from prospective clients at the beginning of your business doesn't mean you're locked into answering questions like that forever and ever. Just because you were at a stage where you accepted every speaking engagement doesn't mean you have to accept every speaking engagement forever and ever. Just because you were at a stage where you would coach people through a DM doesn't mean you're at where you have to do that forever and ever, right? You can over deliver with a client, but that doesn't mean you have to over deliver forever and ever and ever and ever, right? Like there are rules. So I said that I would share the next round of rules that I'm going to be coming up with. And the next round of rules is around my mastermind group. So I run a mastermind group called the 6-Figure CEO Mastermind, but I'm changing my business model to run more of these mastermind groups. So really popular, people really love them. They are so helpful. They help you sell better, have more fun, make more money. Like it's really all about sales and stepping into the 6-figure CEO mindset. I am now now reducing the number of private coaching clients I take. I'm going to have more of these mastermind groups, right? But I have to set rules around these mastermind groups because I am not following my own rules around the mastermind group I have, right? In terms of when they can contact me, if I'm going to run multiple groups, I now have to have different rules, right? Whereas I've been available in that mastermind group all the time and I'm like messaging and responding and commenting, and I'm going to have to now set rules around, if you have a question, put it on this thread. I will be answering it on this day. Like, here's how you can contact me. Here's when I'm responding, because that's going to be what serves them the best when I'm having multiple groups as opposed to just one group and private clients, right? So rules, containers, boundaries, they're important, right? But just because you've been doing something one way doesn't mean you have to do it forever. You can change it later on, right? Like, you don't have to keep doing things the way you did that no longer serves you, but you have to constantly do that check-in to say, is this thing that I'm doing still serving me? It used to serve me. Is it still serving me? If the answer is no, what rules, what guidelines, what boundaries do I have to put in place? So did this help you? Does this help you? Right? The longer you are in business, the more important it is to set aside time to review the guidelines, limits, and boundaries. I look at mine every quarter in a hard way and kind of in a passive way every month, right? I have them written down. What are my rules for my different containers, for networking, for my Facebook group, for Clubhouse, for speaking, for client calls, for sales calls, so kind of think of all the categories, all the buckets for newsletters, for emails, for my team, and then start writing down some of these rules, these guidelines, these containers, and review them, right? So take a minute and think of a goal that you'd like to achieve, maybe a goal you'd like to achieve by the end of this year. And what are you doing or what are you not doing in your business that may be keeping you from achieving this goal? What has to change? And if you're not sure, then schedule a call with me. There have been links all over. If you want a link, I'll have my team put it in the comments below. I'm doing a few 20-minute free calls, just 20 minutes. I'm sticking to the 20 minutes, guys. But I'm helping you like dig in and get clear, and we can figure out where do you need to set a boundary so that you're able to do that. So feel free to schedule one of my free 20-minute calls. Again, you only get one free 20-minute call though. So if you're like, I'm gonna schedule 6 20-minute calls, no, you're probably gonna become my client, right? Schedule one. I always say after I've had a clarity call with somebody, if it's around the same stuff, I'm not gonna have another clarity call with you. That's my boundary, right? Like, I have to make it where you know when you have to make a decision on if you want to work with me or not. So because I can't keep serving people through 20-minute calls. It's like impossible, right? But for you guys, if you've never had one with me, I can serve you through a 20-minute call, and we're not going to maybe have the answer, but we're going to get real clear on this is where you need to put some rules in place, and this is what it might look like, okay? So guys, what are your thoughts? Yes, no, this was good. Was this insightful? Are you going to be a rule-making machine, a guideline-making machine? Does this help you see how to set and enforce boundaries, why they're important? I would love to know. All right, guys, go have a great Wednesday. I am going to go take a little rest, but I will see you throughout the rest of the week here in the All In Entrepreneur. Take care, everybody. Bye.